I disappeared for 3 years. Not physically, my address never changed, but emotionally, I vanished. I stopped answering calls. I stopped replying to texts. I stopped coming home on time. And slowly, the person I had loved most in the world, my wife, started to see through the cracks I'd left. Her name is Selena. When I first met her, everything felt effortless. Our laughter, our dreams, the late-night talks about what life could be. I thought we were unbreakable. But somewhere along the way, routine became resentment, and resentment became silence. I didn't cheat in the usual sense. There was no other person. There was no affair. But I abandoned her. Emotionally. Spiritually. I became a ghost in the life I had promised to share. And when you live like that, 3 years can feel like an eternity of emptiness, for both sides. The day she found me again, I was sitting on a park bench, the same one I had come to when I wanted to think without being interrupted by my own life. I had hoped she had moved on, hoped she was happy because I hadn't been brave enough to reach out. "Ryan?" Her voice was soft, hesitant. I looked up and froze. Selena. She looked older, yes, but stronger somehow. Her eyes, still the same green that had once made my chest ache with longing, were now tempered with a hardness I had never seen. I didn't expect, I started. Her expression didn't soften. Instead, she folded her arms and said something that left me utterly speechless. "You disappeared for 3 years, Ryan, and yet you think I'm going to welcome you back like nothing happened?" I opened my mouth, but no words came. "I've built a life without you," she continued, her voice steady but tinged with pain. "I've learned what it means to rely on myself, to protect myself from the person I thought I could trust." I swallowed hard. My throat felt dry, like sandpaper. I wanted to apologize, to explain, to beg, but I couldn't. How could I? My absence had already said everything. "I didn't cheat," I finally managed to whisper. "I know," she said sharply. "And yet you left me. You were gone in every way that mattered." I wanted to tell her that I had been lost, that life had felt hollow, that every day without her had been a quiet torment. But her gaze pinned me in place, and I realized something I hadn't before. Words were useless now. I tried again, but she shook her head. "No," she said firmly. "I don't want your explanations. I want your presence. And right now, your presence is a stranger. A stranger who owes me the truth about why he vanished." We sat there for a long time in silence. The park was busy, children screaming in the distance, dogs barking, people walking past. But all I could hear was the rhythm of my own guilt and the steady heartbeat of the woman I had wronged. Finally, she stood. "I can't pretend this never happened, and I can't pretend I still want the same life I had with you. But I also can't pretend I don't care about what happened to you either. That's why I'm here." Her words hit me harder than any shouting match, any accusation, any betrayal ever could. Not because they were angry, they weren't, but because they carried weight, the weight of truth. For 3 years, I had expected anger, screams, accusations, maybe even hatred. Instead, she came with clarity. She came with boundaries. She came with a mirror that reflected all my failings in stark relief. "I don't know if we can fix this," she said, almost to herself. "Maybe we can't. But I had to see you, because leaving it unresolved would have haunted me too." And in that moment, I realized the cruelest truth. Absence had cost me everything I truly loved. Not just her, but the life we had built, the trust we had nurtured, the connection that once felt unbreakable. I nodded silently. Nothing I could say would repair 3 years of silence, but somehow, just being there, just facing her, felt like the first step. She looked at me one last time, her expression softening just slightly. "You have a lot to make up for, Ryan. A lot. And I don't know if you can. But if you want a chance, start by proving you can be present. Really present." And then she turned and walked away, leaving me on that park bench, speechless, staring at the space where she had stood. I had vanished for 3 years, but her words, calm and piercing, had brought me back. And I realized, painfully, that finding her again was only the beginning of the hardest journey of my life. Earning back what I had lost.